Back in Mecca,
Ishaq. When Abdul Muttalib had 10 sons grown to maturity, and he knew that they would protect him, he told them of his vow, and called on them to keep faith with Allah in this matter. They expressed their obedience, and asked what they should do. He replied, "Let every one of you take an arrow, write his name on it, and bring it to me." They did this, and he went into the presence of Hubble in the interior of the Kaaba. Hubble was the greatest of the idols of the Quraysh in Mecca.
Ibn Ishaq, the earliest compiler of Muslim traditions, just told us that the high god of the Kaaba was Hubble, not Allah. Doesn't this make Allah, also the second god of the Quran following our Rahman, a second-rate deity? Papa Muttalib started having second thoughts, so he went off and consulted with a sorceress, hoping to get the right advice.
Tabari. By Allah, you shall never sacrifice him, but you must get an excuse for not doing so.
This sounds innocent enough until you realize that the person swearing by Allah is a devil worshipper.
There is a sorceress who has a familiar spirit. Ask her, and you will know what to do. If she commands you to sacrifice him, you will sacrifice him. And if she commands you to do something which offers relief to you and to him, you can accept it.
Sorceresses are occult mediums, in other words, witches. Their familiar spirits are demons. The noose around Islam's neck is tightening. We have multiple gods in the Kaaba, and a witch deciding the fate of Mohammed's father.
So they went to Medina, where they discovered the sorceress had moved to Kabar. They rode until they reached her. She said, "Retire from me until my familiar spirit visits me and I can ask him." Abdul Muttalib stood and prayed to Allah.
Now there's a picture. Idolaters praying to Allah in Islamic fashion in the presence of a devil worshipper. So what do you think Satan's representative had to say? Would she pardon Muhammad's papa and allow Islam to be born? Satan must have liked Islam because...
On the following day they went back. She said, "Yes, news has come to me. How much is the blood money among you?" They replied, 10 camels. She said, "Bring forward the young man and 10 camels and cast arrows. If they fall against the boy, add camels until your Lord,"
would that be Satan, Hubble, or Allah,
"is satisfied."
We continue with Ishaq's account.
Tabari. They returned to Mecca when they had all agreed on the matter. Abdul Muttalib stood and prayed to Allah inside the Kaaba beside Hubble. The arrows fell against Abdallah, so they added 10 camels, making 20. With Muttalib standing and praying to Allah, they went on this way 10 times. Each time the arrows fell against Abdallah.
Satan's representative seems to have been considerably more accommodating. There is just one chance in 1,024 that 50-50 odds will go awry 10 times in a row. Tabari explains the horror of it all.
Abdul Muttalib stood beside Hubble in the interior of the Kaaba, calling upon Allah. The custodian of the arrows took and cast them, and the lot fell against Abdallah. So Muttalib took Abdallah by the hand. He grabbed a large knife. Then he went up to the idols Isaf and Nahila,
the fornicating stones,
who Quraysh used to slaughter their sacrifices, to sacrifice Abdullah.
But rather than slice this son's throat, Muttalib opted for one more cast of the divining arrows. They finally fell in favor of the boy. So Abdul, the stones, idols, gods, diviners, and sorcerers came to an understanding. Abdallah's life was spared.
Your Lord is satisfied at last. The camels were slaughtered and left there. No man or wild beast was turned back from eating them. Abdul Muttalib took Abdallah by the hand. It is alleged they passed by Katal bint Abd al-Uzza,
slave to the goddess Al-Uzza,
the sister of Waraka,
the Hanif.
She was by the Kaaba. When she looked at his face, she said, "Where are you going, Abdallah? I have seen many camels slaughtered for you, so sleep with me now."
Sure, why not add a little prostitution to the mix? We've already got devil worship, paganism, gambling, and child abuse occurring around the Kaaba. But the bribe was evidently insufficient. So the proud Papa, king of Mecca, custodian of the Kaaba, and heir to the religious scam, took his son to the wealthiest and most powerful man in the neighboring clan, the Banu Zerah, and arranged for his son Abdallah to marry the chief's daughter, Amina. The blushing bride's grandmother was Abd al-Uzza, which made her
genealogy and status
perfect, according to IIshaq. Before we consummate this marriage, I must say that I'm surprised Bukhari, Tabari, and IIshaq recount this sordid tale. Mohammad grew up a stone's throw from where it occurred, yet he chose to ignore his ignominious past, revising Jewish history instead, in order to make the near sacrifice in his backyard shrine look monotheistic. In lieu of the truth, he said that the Hebrew patriarch Abraham had nearly sacrificed Ishmael at Allah's house. Take a breath. The next hadith begins with an inordinately long sentence.
Tabari. It is alleged that he consummated his marriage to her there as soon as he married her, that he lay with her, and that she conceived Muhammad. Then he left her presence and came to the woman who had propositioned him, and said to her, Why do you not make the same proposition to me today which you made to me yesterday?
To which she replied,
The light which was with you yesterday has left you, and I have no need of you today.
Remember, these hadiths found paper in Baghdad, centuries after Muhammad's passing. By that time, the Muslim scholars who authored them had well-defined agendas. In particular, they had to make their guy look as godly as that Christian guy, or they'd be out of business. The Gospels proclaimed that Christ was the light of the world. So Muslims contrived this hadith to make their prophet appear similarly enlightened. And if you think I'm being too cynical, listen to the next line from Tabari.
She had heard about this from her brother Waraka bin Nawfal, who was a
Hanif turned
Christian, and had studied the Scriptures. He had discovered that a prophet from the descendants of Ishmael was to be sent to this people. This had been one of the purposes of his study.
Holy hogwash. The Hebrew Bible says nothing about the descendants of Ishmael, other than that they will be wild asses of men, whose hands will be raised against their brothers, and that they would live in hostility with all the world. While prophetic, it's hardly prophet material. So why did the Muslim scholars choose to deceive us? They needed to, that's why. And within their community they got away with it. The lie provided their prophet with some semblance of credibility, however tenuous. And Arabs would never be the wiser for it. They were illiterate. And even the minuscule percentage who could read were out of luck when it came to the Bible. There is no trace of an Arabic translation of the Old Covenant prior to the time of Sadus Ga'an in 900 A.D., decades after this delusion was promulgated. And the oldest Arabic New Covenant was published by Hyrcanus in 1616 from a transcription of a 1171 Coptic scroll. In the territories controlled by the Muslim warlords of the 7th through 10th century, words were irrelevant, as unimportant as evangelists. Islam grew by the sword through conquest, not by words and reason. And those who benefited from this ruse knew that by the time their deception was exposed, it would be too late. The victory would have been won. For those who may think that I am perhaps making too much of too little, consider this.
Tabari. When Abdul Muttalib was taking Abdallah to marry Amina, they passed by a female soothsayer called Fatima, a convert to Judaism from the people of Tabala, who had read the Scriptures and who saw light in his face. Young man, she said, would you like to lie with me now? And I will give you 100 camels.
Contriving a phony Christian endorsement of the Muslim prophet was not enough. Now a Jewish soothsayer is called to verify the light. But why would a Jew react this way? The Judeo-Christian Scriptures say nothing, zip, zero, zilch, about the father of a prophet having a light in his face. Further, Judaism and soothsaying are mutually exclusive. Jews serve Yahweh. Soothsayers serve Satan. The third variant of this desperate grope for credibility demeans Abdallah.
His father took him and married him to Amina, and he stayed with her for 3 days. Then he left her, and when he passed by the Katham woman, he felt a desire to accept the proposition which she had made. He asked her, "Would you like to have what you wanted before?" "Young man," she said, "I am not, by Allah, a woman of questionable morals. I saw light in your face and wished it to be within me. but Allah willed that he should place it where he wished.
The devil worshipper wanted the devil's child.